Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 258 of the Dudes and Beer podcast, now officially brought to you by podcastcadet.com. If you're a fan of podcasting like me, have a podcast, or looking to start up a podcast for yourself, friends, family, fun, business, school, church, whatever, stop on by podcastcadet.com today. They have professionals in all realms of the podcasting industry, everything from branding and starting your podcast to the technology behind it, editing, distribution, monetization, the whole lick. Everything is there. Podcastcadet.com. Use the code DUDES20 on your way out the door to save 20%. Our guest tonight, I'm so happy to have him back on. It has been since New Year, literally since New Year's Eve, since we had the good and great Dr. John Hall back on the show. He is a fan favorite. He is one of my favorites to have on. We are always having great conversations with him. We will be talking about some coronavirus updates, things like that. I'd like to welcome to the program our regular listener on the group, Cheryl Goodman. That beer crack this evening was for you. She said in a message not too long ago that she's been missing the beer cracks. Chris has been drinking a lot of liquor on the road, folks. I'm not going to lie. So much easier to get a hold of than good beer whenever you're on the road and in hotel rooms. But since I'm back with good beer, we are having some nice St. Arnold Citrus tonight, and talking with Dr. John Hall about coronavirus updates, this awesome COVID-19. Nobody better than a doctor to have on to talk about it. We will be joining him here in just a moment, right after this Mayan calendar update from our good friend and realtor Carlos Cedillo with the Plant Music Podcast. Check it out, everybody. Your Mayan calendar update.
Hello, friends. This is Carlos Cedillo, realtor with Keller Williams Heritage in New Braunfels, Texas, and Mayan calendar shaman and musician and artist. Just want to give you a rundown of some of the Maya calendar days coming up. This recording is taking place on Wednesday, February 19th, 7 Owl. Balancing some wisdoms and reconciliation. And this is the last day of a 365-day cycle of the Maya calendar known as the Hab, H-A-A-B. Tomorrow would be kind of like a New Year's, February 20th. A new Hab calendar starts, but it is 8 earthquake on the Tzolk'in 260-day count. So a very, very powerful thinking day tomorrow, February 20th. Another powerful day, Sunday the 23rd, that is 11 sun, so lots of changes taking place now as a matter of fact. And then 13 wind, February 25th, will be another new feeling energy day, kind of like a whole new universe is beginning. And see, the following day with one night, a new 13-day cycle. Let's see, skipping ahead to March. Let's see, March 2nd, 2 rabbit, or 6 rabbit, 6 star. Kind of like a Death Star energy day. And March 17th will be 8 Akbal, which is kind of like a very strong house, or a very strong hearth, fireplace. That'll be St. Patrick's Day, of course. And let's see, March 8th and 9th, kind of skipped over those, 12 Jaguar, 13 Eagle, right around daylight savings time. Very powerful Jaguar shamanic energy moving into a eagle, strength and vision of a cosmic eagle, like the 13 arrows held by the eagle on the United States seal, Great Seal of the United States. So, let me give you a private reading and get a lot more detail about these days, what they mean for you specifically. Send me an email, violetflamerecords@gmail.com. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you once again to Carlos Cedillo, our resident Mayan calendar expert here on the show. We need to start having him on more regularly. I was talking to him up around New Year about how I really wanted to start doing that, kind of like a zodiac, something to like keep your eyes out for the next month, everybody. Here's what's coming up. Here's what you need to look out for according to the Mayan calendar. And we really need to have him on to break down the Mayan calendar again and what all the rabbits and dragons and serpents and everything else mean, because they all mean something different. And like he said, right now, so much change and flux going on to keep an eye out for. Dr. John Hall, welcome to the show, as always. How are you doing? Yeah, it has been, man. And you have been just going through all kinds of crazy issues in your own personal life. And I don't want you to get too in depth, but I think some of what you've been going through really kind of rings true to what's going on right now and what we can really kind of start keeping an eye out for should COVID-19 really hit the way that it has in China. Things like that. We have to remember that China is a considerable amount of the world's population in comparison to the United States. So when they have to go out and start building new hospital facilities to deal with an outbreak, it started with very few people, just like it has here. So to see that, and to know the state of some of our hospitals right now and the state of the intake and how that works, man, it's just that alone frightens me. Not even the treatment, just the how do we logistically deal with this? As someone who deals with logistics on a mass scale on a daily basis, man, the logistics behind this are frightening in and of itself. So you don't. I know. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Hey, I've got flu-like symptoms. I need a hospital room. Um, yeah. And that's just it. Like I said, the logistics of intake, I really don't think people are ready for. I don't. I mean, quite obviously, China was not ready for the outbreak of this. It hit the headlines today that the numbers are now well over. Let's see, what was it? It was originally 2,000 dead. Today it topped over 2,663. Um, so yeah, out of almost 75,000, that is the percentage. So you're talking a pretty decent percentile of death um, within that range. Oh wow! So this is like a hemp marijuana situation. Oh wow! Yeah, yeah, and that's just it. The frightening thing that we spoke about to begin with, whenever we first had John Bound on a few weeks ago, unfortunately, folks, John Bound was not able to join us this evening. He had some pressing engagements going on, uh, hot story leads, things like that that he was dealing with. So he was following up on that. But whenever we first had him on, that was one of the issues was the incubation period. The fact that for 2.5 weeks, come to find out now longer than that, you're a carrier. You're hot. Like, and I forget what the number was that who gave a few weeks ago, but I want to say it was like, yeah, it was 14 days. It's longer than that, but I want to say it was like one out of every seven people that you came in contact with, something like that. Was at least the initial numbers that I heard right up around there, where it was like one out of every seven people that you came in contact with would contract it. Whether or not they would contract it to lethality, that's like wondering whether or not you're going to contract the flu to lethality. Um, yeah, 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 and it's just the rapidity with which it spreads and the virulence is amazing. To have seen the fact, and right now they're still questioning the source of it. I linked, and if you go to the Dudes and Beer page, folks, the as usual, the episode post is just chock full. There's probably about 20 different articles linked in there, and I could have linked between when I made this Sunday and today the number of articles that I posted. And I'm sorry, Doc, but putting you and John Bound's name on them on Facebook and tagging you so that y'all would see them and kind of keep up. Mind numbing. The fact that it's now in the news. Whenever we first covered it, and it was a week old, and the numbers were in the thousands, it was barely covered. And now, 3 weeks later, it's finally hit the news to where it's like everywhere, because we finally hit close to pandemic level. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what is somewhat frightening, because we hear a lot in this day and age about vaccinations. Vaccines are constantly in the news, and I just recently had the discussion with my mother as to, and I'll be honest with you folks, my child sleeping next door, every vaccine. No problem. Got no problem. We talked with my doctor about staging things out as much as possible, all kinds of stuff. But I got no problem. However, when it comes to getting like a flu shot every year, if you're my mom's age and you're asthmatic, and you're verging on 70 years old, absolutely go out and get a flu shot. If you got a kid under the age of 12, 13 years old, absolutely go out and get them a flu shot. For me personally, it's one of those, like, it's roulette, Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and yes, exactly, and that's just it. And that's what I told my mom. I was like, no, nowhere in there did I say that the vaccine does not work. Didn't say that, like, the flu vaccine is fake and that it doesn't work or that it gets you sick. The flu vaccine absolutely does not get you sick. However, the chances that you contracted one of the how many versions of the flu that were not in the vaccine that you took, pretty decent. Like, better than 80%. Mm. Yeah. 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 No. Well, and for a prime example of that, let's take a quick look at the avian flu. Like you said, most of the fallout from that happened by the time we had a vaccine for the avian flu. Yeah. Well, Yeah. Takes a lot of international study. Like it is not an easy process, and the real question here, because we know right now that COVID-19 is in the SARS family. It genetically comes from that. As of right now, there, at least from everything that I've found, and I linked a great article from WHO, the World Health Organization, on coronavirus 2019, or COVID-19 as it's called. And it's some great stuff, great information there, folks. But everything that they are showing as of right now is that though it's genetically similar, that it doesn't show signs of having been weaponized, that it looks as though it has naturally formed from a host, something of that sort. They're still trying to nail down what that host or source was. A lot of people are still thinking maybe something along the lines of pangolins or other rare meat animals that tend to flood the wet meat markets that we spoke about in the first episode with John Bound. And then there's still the going theory of bats being one of the main sources, that being a delicacy in the Wuhan area as well. But with the concept of it being similar to the common cold and also being a flu, these are things that mutate regularly. And I think that's really a lot of the concern right now is the mutation factor. And, by the time that we do begin to come up with some kind of vaccine, it will have mutated already. Yeah. 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 Well, and not a fake picture, just doesn't relate to the actual story. Like a real picture of a person eating bat. Like, hey, don't get me wrong, given the opportunity, I'm Cajun, man. Put it in a sauce and I'll eat it. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, hey, take me to Florida in the winter when the iguanas are falling from trees. Like, we're talking barbecue. But even when you're talking the exotic meat markets and everything else, like you're saying, the first person didn't even frequent those markets. At least what we know right now as patient zero. And it's been strange to see all the things that have popped up. Like one of the articles that I posted in there actually came from where is it? Xinhua Net, a news network out of China, where it talks about medical waste incinerators sent to Wuhan to aid the epidemic fight. And this was numerous incinerators sent with the cabin able to process 5 tons of medical waste a day, with scrubbers on the back end to make sure that nothing biological gets out or anything like that. There was also the story of like $1 billion worth of money being burned and destroyed to help curtail, I guess, the spread through contact. And it's been interesting to see the spread worldwide as well. Like you said, the spread that came here was initially from 14 people. There were a couple people initially whenever we did our first episode with John Baum, but the the spread now is coming more from the cases that you were talking about that came off of the infected cruise ship. Yeah. 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 Well, and that's just it. As you get into different populations, that fatality rate is going to change entirely. When you're talking about somewhere that has what, like almost a quarter of the world's population, like yeah, China's going to ring a totally different fatality rate than somewhere like Iran, than somewhere like Italy right now, which is inundated apparently. They don't even know what to do. Somebody, it was Georgia Kimmy, one of our followers who notated on the or commented on the Dudes and Beer post about them being draconian with their measures. She was like, draconian. Look at how many deaths they've had and how fast it's spreading. I'd say lock the place down. And that's just it. That's what a lot of people are angry about right now is why did we allow people to come back from an infected boat? Things like that. Go ahead. Yep. Yeah. 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 Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, I had spinal meningitis as a child. And that's basically the same thing. That is a virus that bypasses everything else, gets past your lymphatic system and settles in your meninges. Like it's just a plain old virus that in the everyday common cold or flu type virus that gets past everything and just goes, ooh, the spinal fluid looks nice. Let's just settle on in here. You know? That's right. That's right. That's right. And um, probably last week, I guess after I confirmed you and John Bound for this, I posted an article about the locust swarm from Africa hitting China and how they'd released an army of ducks to try and ward off the locusts. Um, and I was like, "Good Lord, have mercy! Let's hope it doesn't cross a species barrier again." Like, if it crossed a species barrier again and ended up hitting the locust swarm and moving on via that, good Lord, have mercy! It'd be it'd be apocalyptic level to have something like that going on. And that is not the realm of science fiction. That is the realm of biology. That is exactly how this works. Yeah, yeah. I mean, good God, ask any good farmer. They'll let you know. You want to control some critters, man? Let some chickens and ducks go on your property. Like, we don't need gas powered lawnmowers. Just get yourself a goat. Like, that's why they had them half the time, is so that they didn't have to spend a whole day dealing with the lawn. You know, like some pretty common sense things out there. And like I said, like the most common sense thing in the world is, of course, uh, wash your hands. Like you're a doctor, you deal with the surgical realm. Um, exactly what will that is that a false sense of security when we are dealing with something like COVID-19? Because that is exactly the advice that came to us from the CDC briefing today was wash your hands regularly. Um, it's good sound advice, of course. Hey, hey, germs exist. That's right. That's right. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Every time. Yeah. 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 Yeah, absolutely. Carry some osium with you, something like that that actively kills bacteria. Lysol is a great one. Like that's 99% of everything that it hits just about. So yeah, absolutely. Carry some disinfectant wipes, something. No, it does. Oh, nice, nice. So there is a cure. Now, don't start the Lysol challenge, people. We are not making a call to action on this show, okay? Don't go out huffing Lysol, or any stupid thing like that. Use your Lysol responsibly. Um, but there are things that you can do. There are preventative measures. Of course, being a self-employed person helps. Being I've actually had uh, I have had one show canceled, and I know two other people that have had shows cancel because of international flights and everything else being banned. Uh, so it is definitely getting to a point that things are changing because of it. Um, flights to and from China, mainland China, and the Wuhan area have been shut down. Japan is starting to look at travel restrictions on all kinds of stuff because of their outbreak. And of course, Italy in the same situation. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. 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 Precisely. Precisely. And and with that in mind, here's another clip. And that, of course, is the Indomitable Matrix. Speaking of conspiracy and COVID and everything else, one of the things that we went into with John Bound in the secondary episode that we did, the first update for coronavirus episode, was the fact that the logo for the Wuhan facility, the lab that it came from, looks oddly, like eerily, oddly, very much so, like the Umbrella Corporation from, of course, the Resident Evil video game series and movies. The people that released the zombie virus upon the public. The actual Wuhan Corporation symbol is like teal and white and looks like an umbrella looking at it from the top. And the one for the Umbrella Corporation is red and white. And it's just eerie that those two match. Like literally one of those situations that if you put it into Photoshop and did like invert, it would be the exact colors. That creepily. And when you start looking at things, and even my buddy shared one from Reddit the other day talking about how, and I put it on the Dudes and Beer group. All these articles and everything, folks, are on the Facebook group Dudes and Beer. Come on by and join the conversation anytime. But I'm trying to remember exactly which Dean Koontz book it was, but there was a Dean Koontz book from like 1991 that was like, the virus was called COVID something. It happened in like 2020. Came out of Wuhan, China. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about right now? Like, like that's just creepy as hell. And these are absolutely coincidences. Of course, the fact that there would be some kind of weaponized virus made out of a flu or out of a cold virus, sure, absolutely common everywhere, easy to mutate, easy to change. So, like it said in the Matrix clip, adapts to everything, and just keeps on eating and eating and eating and does what it does until there is no more. And how are we prepared right now scientifically, Doc, for, I guess, confronting a situation like this? I know at least the last thing I read was saying about a year and a half, maybe, for a vaccine. Like we said a while ago, it was definitely far after the fallout of avian flu that we got a vaccine for avian flu, which is what begot all of the mask wearing that you see in public and airports and train stations and bus stations all over the world. Yeah. 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 And even you are absolutely backing up exactly what the World Health Organization said in their briefing the other day that we posted on the Facebook group, was that while right now there is no cure for it, like there's a topical way to kill it. Like you can wipe down an area with a disinfectant like Lysol and it will take care of it. What's inside of you, or to have a vaccine for it, yeah, we don't have that yet. And they have definitely been releasing people out into the public internationally as well as here. Even the first 2-3 cases that came across American soil were released out to the public because they were not found to be fatal, things like that. Or I guess contagious at the time. But like you said, we found that area of contagion is far beyond 14 days. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. There is a possibility. There is a possibility. And and me, it's one of those, like, until we find out for sure that somebody was like actively weaponizing this thing and like trying to aerosolize it and all that kind of stuff. Hey, I'm just gonna say they were tinkering around with something. We tinker around with a lot of things too. Um, no, I don't think so. Yeah. And there was definitely the situation, like I said before the show, of the $350 million to the universities, to Harvard, to Yale. That one blew my mind when I saw it, and then to dig deeper and find out that, like, oh my lord, there was quite literally a here we go, Chinese foreign actors. This is from justice.gov. That's how deep this is. This isn't even a news article. Like, this is straight up from the United States Attorney General's office of District of Massachusetts, talking about a Chinese national was charged with an indictment with one count of visa fraud, making false statements, and acting as agent of a foreign government and conspiracy. Yes, I said it. Conspiracy. It is a real thing. You can be convicted of it. He is currently in China, and he was charged with a criminal complaint with attempting to smuggle 21 vials of biological research to China on January 21st, 2020. I will repeat that. A Chinese national was arrested on December 10th, 2019 at Boston Logan International Airport and charged by criminal complaint with attempting to smuggle 21 vials of biological research to China on January 21st, 2020. Like, yo! And this is from Harvard University. And this dude worked at Harvard University, and we now know that there was $350 million of phantom money given to Boston University, or to Harvard, as well as to Yale, from the Chinese government and from the Saudi Arabian government. So that to me is disturbing. In and of itself. Yeah. Oh, we have a lot of tech made in China, man. We got a lot of tech made in China. A whole lot. They control most of the rare earth metals market, which is what we use to make technology. There's a million and one reasons, but just to see that in and of itself was just like, holy crap. Like, there's not even writing on the wall. That is like a bright neon spray paint mural on the wall. That something is going on. Yeah. 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 All day. Yep. Well, and that's just it. We have about 3-4 minutes left with our local audience there in WMLD land, voice of the Hudson Valley. I love just saying I'm on the air in Poughkeepsie. That's one of my favorite things in the world. But let's leave those good folks. I mean, we can keep on with this. Do you have time this evening, Doctor? Okay. Well, then let's go ahead and wrap it up real quick. What can people do? I mean, we've laid all this out. There's links to all this stuff in the Dudes and Beer post on dudesandbeer.com, where you can get this episode, everything else. All these articles are linked. You can find the web of connection yourself and dig down rabbit holes all day, folk. But what can people do, Doctor? We've got about 3 minutes left. What can they do to take care of themselves, take care of their loved ones, and really prepare themselves for what may come down the road? Yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and it's just a conscious state of being. It's one of those being present of mind, kind of like not not throwing your cigarette butt on the ground. It's a possibility. You can do it. I used to tell people all the time, you know, I don't remember in any culture where it said God made an ashtray. Uh, yeah, 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 yeah. We now wouldn't know what the good doctor does when he's sick, folks. Uh, yeah, yeah. Precisely. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and make sure. And the main reason to take care of yourselves is so that you can take care of those around you. Um, that and of course, like the Talmud says, there's no revenge like living well. Um, you know. So make sure that you take care of yourselves as this goes forward. We will definitely be in touch with you for updates on this, doc, because these updates are going to be forthcoming on a regular basis. So make yeah, exactly. Well, it will be. We will be ground zero right here in Texas. Please do hold the line while we close things out, Doc. While you're online checking out all of the updates from COVID-19, make sure to go on by the Dudes and Beer store and get your copy of Guinea Pigs, Technologies of Control. Get your copies of Satellite Breed, Satellite Terrorism, a new breed. Or a new breed, Satellite Terrorism, actually, is the name of the book as I look on my shelf. Buy them. Support Dr. John Hall. Support our guests. Dudes and Beer Store. Till next time, everybody, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember,
download the official Dudes and Beer app. For
can't be good.
Android and iDevices.
Be good at it.
Available on
Bye-bye.
Google Play and iTunes markets. For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Breach.tv, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the HC Universal Network family of podcasts. For more about our sponsors and other podcasts on this network, visit hcuniversalnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.